After 5 weeks of war, more than 2,000 people were dead in Iran, and the conflict had forced roughly 20% of the world's oil supply to grind to a halt. The crisis reached its limit on a Tuesday. The White House issued a final ultimatum, setting an 8 p.m. deadline to systematically destroy Iran's power grids and, in the president's words, its civilization. But with just under 90 minutes remaining before the bombers were set to launch, a sudden ceasefire was announced, instantly de-escalating the crisis. This chart tracks the immediate impact. A prolonged plateau of high energy prices suddenly plummets by 16% the moment the truce is confirmed. In the aftermath, the president didn't credit traditional European or Gulf allies. He specifically thanked the leadership in Pakistan. This raises a critical question. How did Islamabad manage to secure the absolute trust of the U.S. administration? A primary anchor for this back channel is Pakistan's Army Chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir, who has established direct access to American military and executive leadership. That relationship took root the previous year. After a brief border conflict with India, Pakistan publicly credited the U.S. president for brokering a ceasefire. This validation opened a reliable, direct line between Munir and the White House. Pakistan also maintained a continuous presence in the administration's inner circle through business ties involving the family of Steve Witkoff, the U.S. envoy to the Middle East. When a deadline is measured in minutes, personal rapport and a direct dial to decision-makers bypass the red tape required to stall an attack. But rapport alone isn't enough to stop a war. A nation must also have a track record of reliability. Islamabad proved this throughout 2025 by quietly facilitating sensitive communications between Washington and Tehran. The ultimate proof of competence came after the 2021 withdrawal from Kabul. The Abbey Gate bombing killed 13 American service members, and Pakistani intelligence arrested the alleged perpetrator. Taking direct action to secure justice for American troops provided Islamabad with a level of credibility that traditional diplomacy rarely achieves. By delivering on these security objectives, Pakistan moved beyond its role as a regional player to become a uniquely trusted partner for Washington. There is also a structural reality at play. Pakistan is the only nuclear-capable power in the Muslim world, which gives it a level of regional weight that commands attention in Washington. This diagram shows how that leverage was utilized. Islamabad didn't just pass messages, they actively filtered and shaped the 15-point U.S. proposal. When rejected, Iran returned an aggressive 10-point counteroffer. Islamabad processed both demands, functioning as the inescapable hub. Washington knew Iran trusted the channel. Unlike other regional powers, Pakistan hosts no U.S. military bases, and it had quickly condemned the earlier strikes on Iranian soil. Between its nuclear status, its active framing of the proposals, and the trust of both sides, Pakistan was the only nation capable of holding both warring parties at the table, which brings us back to the timeline, 5 hours before the Tuesday deadline. To prevent a regional collapse, Pakistan's civilian and military leadership worked in total coordination. While Field Marshal Munir worked the direct back channels, Prime Minister Sharif made public appeals, pushing a two-phase ceasefire proposal to both capitals simultaneously. At the 90-minute mark, the breakthrough hit. Both the U.S. and Iran publicly yielded, and both explicitly cited the requests of the Pakistani leadership in their announcements. Years of back-channel diplomacy were utilized in a single coordinated effort that effectively stalled a wider war. Immediately, Islamabad was transformed into a fortress, secured by 10,000 troops to host the upcoming peace talks. The high-level delegation Washington is dispatching, led by Vice President J.D. Vance and Jared Kushner, is a clear indication of the administration's confidence in this channel. This facilitation mirrors the events of 1971, when Pakistan secretly arranged Henry Kissinger's trip to Beijing to open communications between the U.S. and China. By utilizing these back channels and institutional alignment, Pakistan has engineered a diplomatic pivot, moving from the regional periphery into the center